Welcome back to Munich, my friends. I'm so glad to have you back. Today's video is going to be on CDTM, and last time in my overview video I introduced them with the three words honorary degree, network and going abroad. And if you want to find out what this is all about, then stay tuned for the entire video and you can understand also this overview I made for you. Alright, so let's start off with some key facts and an overview. What is all the hype about? Well, first off, it's an interdisciplinary add-on study program, which was founded in 1998 at the intersection of digital technology management and entrepreneurship. And it's a joint program by the Ludwig-Maximilian University, LMU, and the Technical University of Munich, TUM. Okay, so, but Mariana, you say this is an institution, but it's also a program and it's a network. Like, what is it at the end of the day? If you talk about it from a technical perspective, CDTM is actually the institution and the program offered is the technology management program. However, in practice, CDTM really is more of a brand, like they use it in day-to-day. Nobody will probably say technology management as much as the word CDTM, and they lovingly call themselves Centerlinks. A last point on the broader structure is that this is actually part of the Elite Network of Bavaria, which we will cover in a separate video, but basically it's an institution of the Bavarian State Ministry of Science and Arts who support gifted young people from leaving school up until the postdoc phase. So what are the three main value propositions that CDTM has to offer? First off, it is focus on entrepreneurship, so it helps you really acquire an array of innovation methods which you can apply to different projects. And we will talk about all the different offerings they have in just a second. You're also part of a community, which is incredibly valuable. They have arguably some of the most important networks and people in there in the Munich ecosystem. And the last one, which they're very well known for, is, as I said, also going abroad, which includes some of the most prestigious universities in the world. And I will tell you all about how you can do this with CDTM. All right, so last time we also talked about Manager More, which is the entrepreneurship scholarship from Unternehmertum. And we talked a little bit about the numbers in terms of startups. And we want to do the same thing here at Metis with CDTM as well. So let's have a deep dive. So over 250 companies so far have been founded by CDTM alumni, and they have raised in total over 6.5 billion euros, which is insane. That's a very, very large number. So as I said last time, fundraising basically means that as a startup, you need money to operate your business, and that is called fundraising by venture capital or early stage investments. Now, they have a lot of startups on their map as well. Some of the best known, which are also unicorns. If you don't know what unicorns are, that means that your company is valued at over 1 billion market capitalization, which means if you were to sell it at the moment, you would get 1 billion for it. That's kind of the very basic terminology of it. And some of the best known are Personio, who are actually sitting in Munich. They enable HR for small and medium-sized companies. Foodora, food delivery service. Forto, who enable digital supply chains. TM Mobility, who changed their mobility game, Monzo, who is into banking, and also Trade Republic, who are a neo-broker. But there are a lot. Tanso just closed an incredibly big round of financing. So just to name like some of them, but if you're really into the ecosystem, you will find that there are a lot of CDTM startups. And this is just to give you like a bit of an insight, but definitely check out their website for more information on this. All right, so now that you think, okay, this is something you really find interesting, this is an add-on program, it's all about entrepreneurship, how do you get in? And what is the structure? Well, first off, every semester around 25 students are admitted, which means that competition is incredibly high. And they pride themselves in really being an interdisciplinary study program. So even though it's about technology management, you really can apply from any background. And it's actually preferred almost. So, I mean, that does not mean that if you're doing technology management, also known TUM in German, you have no chance at all. It does mean, though, that you really need to think about what do you bring to CDTM, what do you bring to the ecosystem, and what is your unique selling point, let's say, because they do really try to foster diverse study backgrounds, and just historically speaking, a lot of business students apply, so that's just something to keep in mind, but definitely do not be deterred from doing so. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the structure. So typically speaking, you complete the program in around 2 to 4 semesters, which amounts to 45 ECTS. That means that you obtain your master's degree, and when you obtain it, you have an honorary degree in technology management. So basically you get this only if you do your masters. Let's say you only do your bachelor's, and while this you're doing CDTM, but you never do your masters, then you can't really apply that honorary degree. But if you do your masters, you will then have a Master of Science with honors, which sounds very cool. And so what are these 45 ECTS really comprised of? What are their kind of courses? So they have 3 main courses. The first one is called Trend Research, the second one is called Product Development, and the third one is called Business Strategy. All right, so let's start with the first one, Trend Seminar. So Trend Seminar basically is a full-time 7-week program, which is done during the semester break, and the entire class, so I said in management, people call themselves in generations, in CDTM it's class, so you will hear like class spring 2020, for example. So the entire class works on a trend analysis, resulting in future scenarios and innovative business models. So you really have to be aware for this, if you apply to CDTM, that you have time for this trend seminar, because I won't say the odds are very minimal, but it's definitely very hard to get in if you do not have time, and it's really a full-time program, so you have to commit. You can't do like an internship or work in certain position, or at least it would be very difficult as far as I'm concerned, or as far as I have heard. Now, what are topics which might be in this trend seminar? So examples include tackling climate change in the AI area, the future of waste management, independent living for the elderly, or public administration in the digital era. And so there's really an array of topics you can choose from, or which they normally then provide to you. But all of them have, I feel like, a very interesting niche where you can get into. And so as a class, you will work on this, and then you have like a trend report at the end of this, which is like similar to a scientific paper, like with, you have all your future scenarios then written up, basically. So this is the first course. The second one is called Managing Product Development, also called MPD. And this is different in terms of the time span and also the intensity of the workload. So it spans over 12 weeks, and it's actually part-time, not full-time. And this is really about focusing on design and developing new products. So main topics which you will cover is kind of looking at a problem, analyzing it, understanding especially what your customers want, how do you prototype innovative products and solutions. And we all know a crappy prototype is better than none at all, and really just kind of iterating and interacting. And you might also be able to do that with some companies. Actually, on all of the courses which CDTM offers, there are some opportunities to work with companies. And at the end of this, there is a demo day, and you then can really showcase your results publicly. And examples here include virtual assistants, leveraging AR for dementia. And last semester, for example, there was also a topic called Collector, or the team called Collector, who simplified recycling and disposing of lithium-ion batteries. And they worked actually together with Tozero, who is another CDTM affiliated startup. So just to give you an idea. All right, the last one is called Entrepreneurship Laboratory, and you will hear this name, Entrepreneurship Laboratory, in an array of really different programs. We had it last time at CD Manage More as well. But here in CDTM, basically, this is all about working with a company partner on a business challenge. So you are kind of a consultative entrepreneur, they say, or that's how they describe it. And it means that you act as a consultant, but with your background now in entrepreneurship, which you have gained through the CDTM program. And it is also 12 weeks. And as a good consultant, you go there 1 day per week at the project partner site. An example partner companies are, for example, McKinsey & Company and Deutsche Telekom. And their projects really range from B2B multi-channel strategy to market assessment. All right. So now that we have this first pillars covered, let's talk a little bit about electives. So they have really an array of electives, going from something like interface aesthetics to business courses, personal development courses, hackathons. They have coaches really from industry who can teach you on stuff like effective leadership. And another point which is really worth mentioning, as I said, is the network and also kind of the mentoring you can receive. So you can definitely benefit from having alumni mentoring. They have over 700 alumni at the moment. And you can also benefit from academic counseling, which basically means that you are paired up with someone from their management team and their board of directors. And basically this board of directors is made up from LMU and TUM professors who are affiliated with the program. So I think that's something which makes CDTM very unique, that there is like a very strong interaction with the professors. And so you can kind of go into that academic direction as well as part of the Elite Network of Bavaria. All right, let's talk about studies abroad, which I feel like is something CDTM is incredibly renowned for, and it's definitely very, very interesting. So basically, they really provide you with opportunities how to go abroad. They have a lot of corporations going, and they even help you find your scholarship. And if everything fails, they also help you provide backup funding. So I feel like that's an incredible opportunity. Renowned universities include all the big in the US: Berkeley, MIT, Stanford, Carnegie Mellon, Columbia, and many more. In France, there are some, Japan and Australia. So you can really have your pick almost. Another option to go abroad is actually the Global Internship Program. So these days, in general, all of these are posted internally at CDTM, and then you as a Centerlink can apply, and it's basically chosen then from all the applications where you can go to. So this is really an incredible opportunity for you to go abroad. So definitely check that out if you're interested. One thing you may not know, but is I think incredibly powerful, is their commitment to scholarships. So you can apply regardless of your financial background and your financial situation, because as we said with Manager More, and it's similar to CDTM, you definitely have to account for a very high workload. 15 to 20 hours I feel like is very realistic, sometimes even more even. And so how do you make that happen with your studies and your working student position if you, Munich is known to be quite expensive. So they provide you with a need-based scholarship of up to 450 euros per month during the time of your trend research and your product development course. And if you are interested in that, then during the application phase, you can indicate whether you want to apply for it or not. And then you include a statement on how you finance your studies at the moment, and also a motivational scholarship statement. But as I know, a lot of people are definitely going to be interested in the application process at CDTM. So we will do a separate video on all things on application. And I will hopefully also have some guests from the center who can explain to you how it was for them, how the application process went for them as well. So stay tuned for that and subscribe to the channel if you would like to. So some initiatives you might not be aware from the CDTM are, among them, the Climate Club and the podcast CDTM has. So the Climate Club really works on projects which are defined at the beginning of each semester. So examples here include the creation of a market map of sustainable startups in Europe together with Holzbrick Ventures, Plug and Play, Acton and Enanda. So these are very well known venture capitalists, so early stage investors. And then they have their podcast, which is called Mostly Awesome. If I can somehow link it here, I will definitely do so, because that is a very awesome name, and they have a lot of very well-known guests on their podcast. So they talk about innovators and how their personal journey was. And they're already on their second season, so that's way to go. They're completely self-organized. And so similar to other initiatives or other offerings in Munich, there are different ways how at the center itself you can get engaged. So that could be events, or that could be the podcast, or anything else you might be interested in. So these are the Taskforces kind of you can get into. And that is something you might also want to keep in mind when you're applying, kind of where do you want to put yourself in, how are you part of the class, what is your value proposition for them, but then also like how do you want to shape CDTM itself. But as I said, all a topic for a separate video. All right, so I hope this gave you a first insight, really was just scratching the surface here with CDTM, but I wanted to give you like a first overview on all of this. So if you want anything more detailed, let me know in the comments. And yeah, I will, as I said, do an application and experience video on CDTM and have several guests who will talk about their experience. So stay tuned for that. Until then, all the best.